commandment in this week's Torah portion that on the 8th day, after the birth of a boy, you should circumcise the child. So this Roman general, Turnus Rufus, said to the great sage Rabbi Akiva, tell me, whose deeds, whose acts are greater, God's or man's? And he was saying, if God made a human body the way it is, who is man to take that child on the 8th day and circumcise the child? If God wanted the child to be born circumcised, he could have had him born circumcised. How do we think that we can improve on God's work? So he asked him, whose work is greater, God's or man's? And Rabbi Akiva said to him, Masa Yedei Adam, the acts, the deeds of man, the workings of man is greater than God's. So Turnus Rufus said, how could you say that? So Rabbi Akiva took out a stalk of wheat and a loaf of bread. And he said to him, which one is better, the wheat or the bread? Obviously the bread. So God gives us the wheat, but we have to take the wheat and turn it into bread. And the same thing, circumcision represents all of man's actions in this world. That the world is beautiful, but we are here to actually enhance the world, to elevate the world, to take it beyond its natural state. And that is the mission of the Jew. And that's the mission of every human being. Someone once said that your talents is God's gift to you. What you do with your talents is your gift to God. So it's dependent on us to take what God gave us and transform it into something even better. And therefore it's represented by the 8th day. Last week's parsha was Shmini, the day of the inauguration of the temple. And here we have again the number 8 of circumcision. Why? Because 7 is God's creation. 6 days of the work, well then Shabbos. But we could even go beyond Shabbos. What could we do beyond Shabbos? We could take the world as God gave it to us with the holiness of Shabbos and elevate it to even a higher level. And in some senses, the number 8, 7 is God's blessing to the day of Shabbat, that it's a holy day. How we observe Shabbat, that's man's deeds, is the number 8 within Shabbos. In other words, we elevate this world to even a higher level by taking the day that's sanctified, regardless if we observe it or not. The 7th day is holy, God made it a holy day, but we elevate it to even a higher level of holiness by observing Shabbat and acting in a supernatural way. Naturally, why would you stop working one day a week? You're going to lose money, you're going to lose to your competition. But when Jews have sacrificed to keep Shabbos, they're saying is we're going to go beyond nature. We're not going to look at the calculations of nature. We're going to observe Shabbos, and that's the number 8 within the number 7. It's a beautiful story. There was once this chassid who read, he learned that if you fast for 40 days, you merit a miraculous revelation by Elijah the prophet, Eliyahu Navi. So he tried it, he fasted 40 days, and he didn't merit to see Elijah the prophet. So he came to his Rebbe, he said, I fasted, I didn't meet Elijah the prophet. So he was very disappointed. So the Rebbe said, I'll tell you what to do. Rosh Hashanah is coming up, there's a poor family, a woman, children, they live on the outskirts of the city in a little hovel, a little shack, very poor. Go spend Rosh Hashanah with them. He was a wealthy man. He said, take food and drink and go observe Rosh Hashanah with them, and you'll merit to see Elijah the prophet. Okay, that's what it takes. He loaded his wagons with the best food, the best drink, the best of everything, travels to this little hut at the end of the village, and he knocks on the door, and this woman opens the door, and there's like 4 kids running around the house. She's a widow. She lost her husband. The house is very decrepit, very poor, in shambles. And he says, can I spend Rosh Hashanah with you? She said, we'd love to have a guest, but we barely have any room for ourselves, and we have no food for the holiday for our own family. We surely can't feed a guest. He says, don't worry, I brought a wagon full of the best food, the best wine, the best everything. She says, if that's the case, you're more than welcome. He goes into this house. He's used to living in a luxurious house. He has to live in this house 2 days with his family, but he gives them to eat and to drink and have a wonderful yontif. He's waiting to greet Elijah the prophet, like the Rebbe told him. He doesn't see Elijah the prophet. So he goes back after Rosh Hashanah. He's very disappointed. He says to the Rebbe, you told me if I did this for 2 days and spent Yom Tov with this family, I would see Elijah the prophet. I didn't merit. He says, now go back and do the same for Yom Kippur. He knew the living conditions of this family, so he loaded his wagon with a lot of food for pre-fast meal and a lot of food to eat after to break the fast. And he travels with his horse and wagon. He comes to the house. He He's about to knock on the door, and he overhears on the other side of the wall of that door, the mother saying to kids, Yom Kippur starting in an hour, we got to get dressed, we got to get ready for the holiest day. And the kids say to their mother, Ma, why should we fast on Yom Kippur? We fast all year round, we have nothing to eat, why should we fast on Yom Kippur? And the mother, she hears the mother on the other side of the door say to the kids, children, don't talk that way. It's the holiest day, we have to fast. And if we do what we're supposed to do, maybe God will perform a miracle for us and send us Elijah the prophet again for Yom Kippur, like he sent us Elijah the prophet for Rosh Hashanah. And then he realized what the Rebbe had said. You'll meet Elijah the prophet. You know who Elijah the prophet, the miracle maker is? It's you. And that's the idea of a miracle in Judaism. A miracle is not something only that we wait for God to perform. Every time we go beyond our natural abilities and we do something in a way that is beyond our limited mind calculations and connect to Hashem, we transform ourselves from our natural state to our supernatural state. And that's the ultimate way to perform a miracle. And that is the work of man that God tells us to perform on the 8th day with Brit Milah. And that's why the day of Brit Milah represents the number 8, which is beyond nature.
Yiskadal, Yiskadash, Shabbat Rabban. The Lord give Ra, Kurasay, the